The Screencast-O-Matic just cut me off. You know, sometimes I'd like to do that to people, just cut off. But I'm back, all right? And we still have this problem. It's unsolved. Let me recap just a minute. This is a rose, has 4 petals. So we had decided that it had a petal that went from here to here. Because it went from 0 to 0. So the first radial line of 0, and then this was also just in 0. So we picked something in between to see what was happening, and it went to 4. Remember, there's a circle radius 4, so that's what's happening. So now we got ourselves a petal, and I said, when I was rudely interrupted, I said, well, we could have a formula that goes from 0 to pi over 2 of this thing, and that'll be 1 petal. Or, which I like much better, and by the way, this is d theta, what I like much better is if I did 0 to pi over 4, so that would be this part, okay, from 0 to pi over 4, and then I double it. So I get rid of the half, all right? Try to get rid of those fractions because they're hindrances. So then I have 16 on the outside. Why 16? Because 4 squared is 16. Then I'll have sine squared of 2 theta on the inside. I'll square it out. Now I'm going to use that, what do they call that? Trig identity. The trig identity I'm going to use is, let's go back to the other one. For sine squared, it's 1 minus cosine. All right, minus sine. I, sideways I. Cosine is the plus, and they're both the same. All right, way to remember it. Maybe a little way to remember it. So it's 1 minus 2 cosine of 2 theta over 2, all over 2. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change this. I'm going to use the identity. I'm going to use the identity, big T, because I'm crazy. And you get 16 over 2. I'll bring that 2 right out, like it's nobody's business. It's coming right out. And this is going to be 1 minus cosine of 2 theta. Okay? D theta. Now, I'm going to break that up. I'm going to say this is 8. Well, remember, if this is u, then du is 2 d thetas. Okay? du is 2 d thetas. So I break it up, and I'm going to have pi over 4, 0, and 1 d theta minus 8. I don't know why I changed colors. I like colors. Nice, nice. Then I'm going to have, I guess, cosine of, well, if I make this 2, I got to make it a half outside. So this is actually going to be a half cosine u du. I'm kind of writing on myself. Here we go. I'm better now. I'm probably down here somewhere. All right. Now, we'll do the first one. First one looks pretty good. It's going to be 8 theta evaluated at pi over 4 and 0. Okay? And now that's going to be 2 pi. When I put in pi over 4, I get 2 pi. When I put in 0, I get 0. So that whole one is 2 pi. Now over here, this one is over here, which is going to be minus 1/4. I'll make it nice. Derivative of, I'm sorry, the integral of cosine is sine. We'll put back the 2 theta. And now we'll evaluate it at pi over 4 and 0. So when I evaluate it at pi over 4, it's the sine of pi over 2, which is 1. Okay? I believe that's 1. The sine of pi over 2 is 1. 1 times negative 1/4 is negative 1/4, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But make sure I did everything right. Okay? Just double checking myself here. All right? Now, when I put in 0, I get 0. So it's 2 pi minus 1/4, I believe. And just let me double check that. Pi over 2, sine of pi over 2 is 1. 1 minus 1/4. So my answer is 2 pi minus 1/4. However, I screwed something up. I screwed it up. Darn it. I knew there was something wrong. This, since it's Only when this is theta, it's 2 thetas. Over here, where is it? It's already 2 thetas, so now this is 4 thetas. Does not affect this guy, but it definitely affects this thing, because now du is 4 d thetas. So now I'm going to divide this by 4. Okay, that's my only screw up. So this is going to be actually -8 divided by, let's get this out of here. -8 divided by 4 is -2. So now if I do pi over 4, that's 0 and 0. So my answer turns out to be just 2 pi. I told you in the beginning, that's why I was a little leery, because I told you from the other video that when you go and do this one, when you go and do this, not all the time, but a lot of times, that guy just turns out to be 0. A lot of times, all right? So my answer turns out to be 2 pi, which I know is right, okay? Because I was kind of, you didn't see off camera, I was having a little bit of a heart attack because I wasn't getting it right. So remember that when we use these, this is for theta. So if I had 2 theta, you double it. 3 theta, you triple it. Things like that. All right, I want you to try. Here they are. I put them on the bottom here for you. Your identities to know. And it's going to be page 747. Okay? 1, 2, and 7. Okay, that's 1, 2, and 7. You try those 3 for homework. Okay, you should be okay. And then we're going to do 2 or 3 in class to make sure you're solid with this stuff. All right? One of the just a quick recap, graph it. We need to know where the radial lines are that happens. I like to get half the pedal, so when I double it, it gets rid of that 1/2, because in our formula, it's 1/2. And then, once we have that, we square it and work it out. I always separate this. I don't really know why, but I always separate it. So, just letting you know. All right? Enjoy. Thank you for watching part 2.